What if I tell you that USCIS and other government agencies may use your social media presence against you? In this video, we're going to discuss the latest developments because there are recent news showing how these agencies are using fake profiles online to track your activity, and that may play against you. I'm going to tell you a couple of examples on how this can hurt your green card or visa processes or even naturalization, and how you can protect yourself from this. But first, let's start by looking at the latest news on this topic. And by the way, my name is Oscar and I'm a scientist. And here we talk about green card categories where you can self-petition, like EB2 NIW and EB1A. But today we're going to cover a topic that will really be of interest to anyone in the US immigration space. Like I said, this can affect all of you, really. So this is the news from The Guardian from just a few days ago, and it talks about how US immigration uses fake social media profiles across investigations. And that's really it. I mean, they surveil social media activity, and they allow officers to create and use fake social media profiles in a wide range of operations. Okay, and that includes researching your online presence when you seek immigration benefits. And remember, immigration benefits is anything from an F visa to an H visa to a green card application, I-140, adjustment of status, consular processing, and then it even extends to re-entering the country. These agencies include the Department of Homeland Security, which is part of USCIS, and Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, and that's the agency that takes care of letting you in the country when you come through an airport. For example, you come to the airport, you land in the US, and then the first thing you do is you have to pass that control, that check, and that check will be done by a CBP agent, and they have a lot of discretion as to who can get in and who can't. So even if you have a visa, even if you have been given a green card approval, they have the power to reject you at the border. Of course, it has to be based on some reason, and you may appeal the decision, but they have that power. So you should be careful when you read this kind of news, because it tells how your data can be used against you, and how you have to be smart about your social media presence in general in life, but when it comes to immigration, it's also very important. So I'm going to leave this link to this article in the description below, so you can come and read it at your own pace. But basically, it talks about how civil groups may start thinking about suing the agencies, because this is a little bit an invasion of your privacy. But basically, here it talks about how DHS officers, part of USCIS, can use fake accounts to research people requesting immigration benefits. And it gives this document that they discover. It has a lot of detail about practices that the USCIS recognized already in 2019. So like I said earlier, this is not really a new story, it's just a developing story. So these officers that work for the agency that decides who get green cards and citizenship can gather a wide range of data, including physical address, relationship information, employment, and education affiliations, and any social media posts that are contrary to information submitted by the applicant. So I'm going to stop here because I want to digest a little bit what this means. What this means is that when you are filing, for example, because this is a channel about green cards, let's say you are filing an I-140 and you are explaining as part of the NIW that you plan to work in a certain field, in doing a certain, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're bringing your business to the US, and you say, this is what I'm going to do, this is my endeavor. Then you go on, you obtain that residency, and once you are in the US, you start doing something completely different, okay, outside of that field of expertise. That can get you in trouble later on. It can get you in trouble if you haven't filed an adjustment of status yet, or your adjustment of status is still pending, or it can come bite you when you come in the country one of those times. The officer can pull your history, and maybe they saw that red flag, and then they will stop you and ask you questions, and you may be rejected or not. Of course, it depends on the case. Another example is you are an H1 visa holder, and an H1 working visa is related to an employer. So you decide that you are going to start working on the side for a different company. That is against the visa policy. So by doing that, you are violating the terms and conditions of your visa. So if USCIS goes on and start looking your social media, Facebook, Instagram, your YouTube channel, whatever you have out there, and they see, well, you are doing another job, you are not fulfilling your endeavor that you said you would, and you're doing something else, or you are charging people for consulting on an area that is not your area of expertise, that can hurt you for sure. And now we know, we have a definite proof here that they do keep that data. They do have files of this data, and this information can damage you. Okay, and I did a very quick search, and there's a bunch of information online. You can go to lawyers' websites like this one, explaining how USCIS monitors your social media. There's plenty. I mean, this is just two examples I found, but they definitely do this. And so what recommendations can I give so you are as protected as possible? Well, first of all, you are the owner of what you post online. You are the owner of what you post on Facebook, what you say on Instagram or on Twitter, now called X. A lot of times you may stop and think, should I post this? If you're going to post opinions that are extreme, opinions that may get you in trouble, if you're going to talk about your relationship, for example, about your marriage, that's an area where USCIS will really probe you in your interviews. So you really want to understand what you are putting out there and treat everything like if it's going to a file in USCIS, okay? Because that is exactly what may happen. They usually probe about marriage, so you want to be sure that your marriage, of course, is bona fide, and we talked about that in a previous episode. And that means that if they go to your social media and they see that your marriage is not really real, you will get in trouble. And of course, I mean, if your marriage is not really real, you shouldn't apply with a spouse that is not truly in a relationship with you. That goes without saying. But let's say that you are doing some posts that maybe they can assume that you are, for example, using drugs, right? That's an example of something that would violate the terms of a green card, for example. And if they later they see your I-485 and you mark that you don't use drugs, but then they have evidence from your social media where they can assume that that is not true, you're going to get in trouble. So always think twice before posting pictures, messages, whatever it is, and select what you post out there. It doesn't mean that you should absolutely refrain from posting at all and not have a social media life at all. It doesn't mean that. It means be smart. So if you want to open a YouTube channel and have income out of some side hustle, maybe that's not a great idea if you are on a working visa or a green card where you promise you would do something else. I would encourage you to delete those things, move on, and just focus on the things you promise you would do. Okay, what is another example that I can give you of how USCIS uses your data? Nowadays, they can, when you enter the country, they can ask for your phone. the officer that control a border patrol officer, he or she can ask for your phone and they can check your messages. And imagine that in your messages, you are entering the country as a visitor visa holder. Maybe you are under a B visa, for example, but they check your messages and you texted with your wife or husband or friend that you're coming to the US for a job. That would put you in serious problem, not only on that moment, but for any future process. What if you say that, well, you really plan to apply for a green card, even though you're coming as a visitor? That would raise some red flags in USCIS. All in all, be really careful about what you post out there. Control what is public about you. Control your narrative and go back and check, am I doing something that would put me in trouble for an adjustment of status, for entering the country, for applying for naturalization, for renewing my green card? And if so, start deleting those things. There's no need to engage in any activity that you shouldn't, and especially now that you know that they will know about it. If you are serious about applying for a green card, then I invite you to visit one of these websites that I have for EB1. On the left, you see eb1greencard.info. For EB2 NIW, I have eb2niw.info or eb2niw.español.info because, yes, también hablo español. And I have courses there that teach you how to do the process by yourself. And actually, right now, I just updated the courses and I added a module on adjustment of status that I had promised in my previous video, and I will be doing so with consular processing as well. So I'm constantly improving the content on the website, on the courses, and I want to deliver the best material for you so you can succeed at this effort of applying for permanent residency. Don't get in trouble with your social media. Instead, use internet to get into these resources and create the best case for yourself. I wish you good luck, and I will see you on the next video.